some other attendees. Urca. Yes, Elena. Okay, I will check.
Yes, I mean, I see that there are still people joining, but well, we will wait a few more minutes and then you can start, I think, Matthew.
Yes, yes.
As we don't have a session just afterwards, it's okay if we do extra time. I think it will be fine.
Okay. I need a better screen because it's too small for me. It's too small.
Sia stata io così grande.
Elena, Claudia says that the event had not started, but I think that you can try again, Claudia, because you are in the...
Here, I'm here.
Yes, it's good.
Here, thanks.
Yes, excellent. So I think that Elena,
Yes,
we can
go
start.
ahead. You can start,
Okay.
Marco.
So thank you very much for having with us. Good morning, everyone, and nice to meet you in this virtual room. Indeed, I think very good, very big room. I introduce myself. I am Marco Barber, in charge of partnership management of EMN. I joined EMN in March after 8 years as a general manager of an Italian financial institution, and after 16 years in a bank. It's my great privilege to hold this session today, and thanks to EMN to give us the opportunity to reflect on the issues that are so important and so decisive for our world. I will share with my screen with some kind of instruction. The title, the heading for this session is expanding our network to cope with the challenges ahead. After an impactful, a very emotional presentation that we had before about what we expect from the future, now we have the opportunity to discuss with some very kind speakers that are Catherine Sturm from AACM, Claudia Belli, BNP Paribas, Eleonora Mattioli, Fondazione Ottavio Sgarilla del Monte, and lastly joined Gabriele Giulietti of Banca Etica. We have to adapt the slide. Thanks to our sponsor, this annual conference would not be possible without our partners and sponsors. In particular, this activity has received support from the Employment and Social Investment Programme of the European Commission and is organized in partnership with the EIB Group, Galileo Network, and BNP Paribas, of course. I kindly remind all participants that the session is being recorded and that the recording, along with any presentation and other material from the session, will be shared with the attendees after the conference. If you have a question at the end of the webinar, we will invite you to ask your question. There are two ways to ask a question. You can use the hand icon, as you can see on the slide, to raise your hand to let us know you would like to be given the floor. Not difficult, very intuitive way. Okay, I will lead this session with a very kind panelist, a very gender-oriented session with many women, and I am very excited to have a view on this floor. As I said before, we have Miss Catherine Sturm, that is Secretary General of AACM. It is European Association of Guarantee Institutions, but in French is different, so she will explain. AACM represents 48 members operating mutual, private, and sector guarantee schemes, and as well as public institutions. They all have in common the mission of providing loan guarantees for SMEs and micro, of course, who have an economically sound project but cannot provide a sufficient bankable collateral. Then we have Claudia Belli, Head of Social Enterprises and Microfinance at BNP Paribas. The bank has made financial inclusion and social entrepreneurship key commitments in its corporate social responsibility, in line with sustainable development goals. We have Miss Eleonora Mattioli from Fondazione Sgarilla del Monte, an Italian microfinance institution, very typical Italian microfinance institution located in Marche region, very nice region, very small but very active. And then we have Gabriele Giulietti from Banca Etica, Head of Institutional International Relationships. The bank is operating in Italy and Spain with the aim to develop cooperation and solidarity across Europe and over. First, we will have, I think, 2 rounds of questions after a little bit of presentations of your organization. And I would like to start with Catherine, and I would like to ask each of you, what are you doing now, especially in these particular circumstances, to cope with this crisis, this coronavirus crisis? And what your organization is acting now in this stage? So I'm very happy to give to Catherine the stage, and I stop to share my screen. And Catherine, the floor is on you.
Thank you very much, Marco, and also a big thank you to the European.
Keep your mic
close
to the phone.
Better? Okay, so many thanks, Marco, for the kind introduction, and also many thanks to EMN in general for providing me with this great opportunity to talk to all of you. Good morning to everyone. I would have loved to see you personally. Unfortunately, the circumstances do not allow for this, but I hope at one point we will manage to do so. So Marco, you asked me what I'm doing in daily life. So I would like to present a little bit the association I'm working for and its members. So I don't know if we could have the first slide.
I will share the slide. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you tell me if you can see?
Yes, I can see it. And you can go straight away to the next one, please. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. No, that's one too much.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's start
Please
with
don't.
this one. Thank you. So AECM is in fact comparable to EMN. It's an association based in Brussels. As Marco said, the acronym comes from the French name, and it's Association Européenne de Cautionnement. And we have, like, as Marco said, 48 members. They are very heterogeneous, but all of them have in common to support SMEs in getting access to finance. And when I say SMEs, I mean the European definition, which comprises, of course, also micro enterprises. So we have, as I said, like 48 members. They are in 30 countries, which you can see on the next slide.
Sorry.
No worries. ACM, otherwise I talk about this. ACM has, like EMN, like certain missions. So what we do is we represent the interests of those 48 members at most of all at European level, but we are also active at international level and sometimes also at national level. Here you can see in which 30 countries they are. So we do not cover the entire European Union, but we do cover also countries outside of the European Union. Then to the next slide. What is exactly the activity that our members are doing? As you can see on top in the left-hand corner, you start with the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur would like to have a loan and therefore addresses himself or herself to a commercial bank or, of course, to a microfinance institution. Then the bank or the microfinance institution realizes that there is too much risk involved, so that there is a lack of collateral. And then the bank clerk or the person working for the microfinance institution addresses himself to one of our members, whom we call in general guarantee institutions. Like Marco said, these are either private institutions, private publicly mixed ones, or public ones, and many are national promotional banks and institutions. So they check the file, the application, and when they are happy, they agree to provide a guarantee. Often they receive a guarantee on their own, either from their national side or from the European side. So I know that you're involved at EMN with EASY, and our members are also having programs that they sign, like COSME or Innofin are the names for those. So when this is all okay, then they confirm to the bank or to the microfinance institution that they agree to provide the guarantee. On average, such a guarantee amounts to 70%, so it's really a good collateral. And with the 30% remaining risk, the bank or the microfinance institution says, great, we provide the loan, and then the entrepreneur can realize the project. So you see the advantages are for the entrepreneur to either get access to finance at all, or sometimes it's also getting access to finance to better conditions, that, for instance, the interest rate is lowered because of these better rating of the customer with the additional collateral. And of course, for the bank or microfinance institution, it's a reduction of risk. It's an increase in lending activity. If otherwise they wouldn't have done this file. And of course, we don't want this, but unfortunately it happens that, of course, there are also defaults. And in that instance, a guarantee is a collateral which is quickly materialized and given to the guarantor. So we also have a high multiplier effect, and our members achieved with their activity, just to give you an impression, at the end of 2019, there was an outstanding guarantee volume of 111 billion euros, and this benefited in total 2.8 million SMEs. But on average, such a guarantee amounts only to 32,500 euros. So it's rather small amounts. To the next slide, please. What is also the case is that the guarantee is, of course, an anti-cyclical instrument. You can see this here very well illustrated with the financial crisis from 2008. There was an increase in guarantee volume here of 26%. With the current crisis, it becomes already now apparent that this increase in guarantee volumes is even higher. So to give you just one example, we have in Austria a member called AWS, and per end of September, so meaning for 3 quarters, they had 10 times the guarantee activity that they had in the full year 2019. So currently the demand is for some of our members just crazy, and they work very, very hard and round the clock. According to the OECD, where we have an observer status and one working party, all governments of the OECD member countries used guarantees as an instrument to support SMEs during the current crisis, and you will receive after this event a PowerPoint version that is a bit longer, and there you will see also some slides with exact measures undertaken by our members to make it easier and faster for the SMEs to get their guarantees. And having said this, I would like to stop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. The stage on you, Claudia, from BNP Paribas.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm in BNP Paribas, which is one of the largest banks in the Eurozone. And we think we are quite atypical because alongside all the activity or some of financing the economy, the small enterprises and the financial institutions, we have a small but very active activity, which is financing microfinance and other actors of financial inclusion. So I wanted to make a very short presentation to say why and how we do this very, very shortly. So if you want to change the first slide, you see that this is part of our corporate social responsibility, but which is really as a tool to enhance the way to work in the bank. So our corporate social responsibility gives the tools, gives the way, gives the strategy, helps the businesses to implement the strategy. And then businesses are let them go so that they can really implement what has been requested. And you see the responsibility is for us in 4 pillars. So being an actor for the economy, being a good actor for ourselves, so for our employee, being an actor for the whole community, so an actor of positive change, but still an agent of financing for positive change, and of course for the environment, which is for ourselves and for our clients. When you think about the microfinance and the financial inclusion, this is part of the 2 pillars of the economy and the community. So if you want to change the page, you'll see also how, well, yes, exactly, how we measure, no, please go back. Yes, please go back one. So yes, exactly. So here you see where you find the effect of working in microfinance. Working microfinance for us is funding, mainly it's funding microfinance institutions so that they are going to be able to do their work of really financial inclusion of the people who are mostly financially excluded. So it enters into the investing and financing with a positive impact. In that field, and in all the other engagements that we have put some KPIs, some key performance indicators, which are set so that all the businesses can really perform into that engagement. For instance, on that, investing in financing with a positive impact, we have set KPI stating that we want to increase by 10 billion each year all the financing which is strictly in relation with the Sustainable Development Goals. And being an actor for the Sustainable Development Goals means that we're going to have more positive impact into the financing. Then on the community, we think that being a financial actor, we want to create more financial inclusion. And so funding, financing, investing, promoting the investment and promoting the distribution of financial microfinance institution, it's something that helps the financial inclusion as a whole. So we put that into the products and financing that are widely accessible, which also means creating all a structure that helps those companies to receive more help, also more financial assistance, also more technical assistance. So if you just turn the page, you'll see how we track some KPIs. So this is a general table, which is very difficult to read, but then if you just change the page, you see the key, maybe one more. I thought it was, yes, exactly, perfect, here. No, back, thanks. So back one, yes, thanks. So you see on those two pillars and on those two engagements, we have put KPIs which involve 10% of the deferred remuneration of the highest 7,000 employee of the group. We're a group of 200,000 employees. So 10% of their deferred remuneration is based on the contribution to those KPIs. And for instance, you see the track of this 2 years ago, when we have set the baseline 2018, we were at 5.6 billion of funding, financing, distribution, and investment into microfinance institutions, social enterprises, and NGOs, so into the companies of social and solidarity economy. And we aim to reach by next year 6.3 billion. We think we're close to it because we are now at 6.2. So you see, those are the kind of KPIs that we measure. Like for the SDGs, we want to increase by 10 billion. So we were at 168 billion overall investing and financing for SDGs, and we want to achieve 182 billion 182 in 2019. So 10 more per year, so it will bring us to 202 billion in 2021. There are many other KPIs, but I wanted just to highlight you how much all the management of the group is concerned by the fact of achieving financial inclusion or becoming an actor for sustainable finance. So just one more slide, and you see just which have been some concrete things, concrete realizations in 2019 related to all the engagements that the bank has taken and has been implemented by the businesses. Like the social entrepreneurship, including microfinance, we have achieved 1.9 billion of support, which is mainly lending because we're a bank. So out of this 1,900 billion, 1,600 billion is lending to social enterprises across the world, but just across the countries where BNP Paribas has a location, so has really a setup. Or the inclusion diversity also is something that, of course, is very, very well sought after. But what I want to highlight is that in this year, we have achieved 30 years since the very first funding to a microfinance institution. So for us, it's not an effect of fashion, of, oh, everybody has to do it. It's really something that we've been starting 30 years ago and has been strengthened year by year in order to create a more inclusive society. And then in the second part, we'll talk about the different coalitions. But you see also, of course, on the more energy and transition to a better energy, we've been taking hard positions like being an actor for the green bonds or increasing the financing to renewable energies, which is really doubling since 2015 has been doubling. So it's really something that we are very, very strong on, and we want to really to increase. So this is just to say how microfinance for us is not a matter of philanthropy. It's really a matter of one kind of business, which is done as a social business. So we don't expect to earn a lot of money out of it, save for recovering all our costs. So I leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Claudia. And now from a big bank, a big worldwide bank, to a small microfinance institution located in a very nice place in Italy. And I give you the floor, Eleonora, and go ahead. Thank you.
So, hi everyone, my name is Eleonora, and here with me there is Serena, my colleague. The president of our foundation is not here today, but he wanted to say hi to every one of you, and he wishes the success of this initiative that is very important. And thank you for letting us introduce ourselves in your world. So we are representing the Ottavio Sgariglia Dal Monte Foundation. That is a microcredit business located in Ascoli Piceno, in Italy, in the Marche region. And it was established in 2007 by Cabrisap and San Giacomo della Marca foundations. But the Sgariglia Foundation Autonomous comes from an idea of the Cabrisap Foundation in 2009. And it enterprises that have been on the market for no more than 5 years and 2 startups. If Elena can go to the other slide, please. So the foundation was endowed with resources equal to 4 million made available by the Cabrisap Foundation, and this investment has its primary goal that of developing the economic and social framework of the area of reference of the Cabrisap Foundation. That is the one that you can see on the slide. If we go to the other slide, you can see what can be financed. And I just want to add that the foundation operates through social microcredit and tutoring activities for the growth of entrepreneurial initiatives, and through all the methods allowed as a private legal person with managerial authority. On the next slide, you can see our numbers, and let me just say that the fact that the Cabrisap Foundation decided to give 4 million euros as an endowment fund, knowing that this money cannot be used differently, and looking beyond its horizon to realize a project that might significantly influence the territory, is to us an important example of foresight and care for the territory. And it's with the same spirit of foresight that here today with you, we appreciate the value of this initiative, aim to create a network, and we participate with enthusiasm to the goodwill not to remain isolated. And we all know that we have to balance the sustainability of the social account with the desire to help the community in which we live. And that's why we should be ready and available to help this network grow. And when this crisis will be over, it will also be thanks to our goodwill. And with our presence and our commitment, we all will contribute with success to the restart and the rebirth. And that's it. Thank you. So Marco, I'll just leave you the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eleonora. And now another bank, another important member of EMN, it is Banca Etica with Gabriele Giulietti. I leave you the floor. So go ahead, Gabriele.
Thank you very much indeed.
First of all,
can you hear me? It's okay?
Loud and clear. Go ahead. Thank you.
Perfect. So, well, we are all parts of the same activities this morning. So, I will follow the slides, but I prefer telling some things which can be shared with my other colleagues. When we started as a microfinance institution in 1989, we didn't think that we should have reached these goals today, standing together with you and with our colleagues, because when we started, we were a very small entity here based in Padova. And after 10 years of activity in microfinance, I mean supporting fair trade organizations and microfinance institutions in Italy and Latin America and Africa, we had to transform ourselves because of the law, the Italian banking law, in a bank. And we started with 13 people in 1999, 13 people working in a part. Today, the bank, you can see in the following slides, today the bank is based in Italy and Spain. we have more or less collected around 2 billion euros, and we lend 1 billion euro, which is dedicated. The portfolio loans are mainly dedicated to social enterprises, associations, and NGOs. Can you go back to the other slide, please? To the photographs. The previous. That's one. You can see the photographs of some of our beneficiaries. The first one is, I should say, it's a cooperative which works on grounds confiscated to Camorra. We were the first bank working in Corleone. This is Casal di Principe near Naples. Then there are the other is a cooperative working in renewable energies. Then there are microfinance activities. Then there are culture and arts. These are, I should say, the good news is not that we are lending the money to this kind of subjects, because now all the banks can do that. But when we started, these beneficiaries were not known by the other banks. There was a research led by the Catholic University in Milan on our first 15 years of loans activities. And they stated that 50% of our beneficiaries had been previously refused by the other banks. The good news is that our default ratio is less than 1%. So we are working with those who are considered unbankable, but the results of our portfolio are very good. This is the good news we can say today with our 44,000 members. Among these, there are 6,000 organizations, associations, not-for-profit organizations which work in Italy, Europe, Palestine, Africa, Latin America as partners, because they are not customers for us. They are partners of a big dream, which is changing finance and banking activities in a way which I should say now Pope Francis has stated with the last letter, which was all brothers. This is our dream, and we think that we can do what we have done in the past and we will do in the future, of course, with other subjects who are you. European Microfinance Network, the friends who are speaking now, because we can't stand if we are not together. In the end, just to add one thing, that 3 years ago, the Italian Parliament passed the law, approved a law, which take into consideration the features of Banca Etica. So in order to be a financial instrument, a bank which is complying with the ethical finance rules, you should be like Banca Etica. This was passed in 2016, and the year after, our parliament approved the law for which the public sector can work with subjects who comply with their activities on the ground, but even with Banca Etica. And I wanted to tell this not because to underline that we are couple, fantastic, marvelous, but just to say that if you work well for 30 years and you stay with people, we stand with people, then the results come. And this is what I wanted to share with you this morning. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much for this round of questions and for your presentation. It's very interesting that we're starting from the network and we come back to the network, because so for that I think that it's a moment to ask you this since the title is expanding out network to cope with the challenges, I would like to go deeper in this direction. And we need to innovate our network. We need to come out to open and to understand which is the right alliances that allow us to overcome our weaknesses and enhance our skills and so on. But what your organization expects from the network, and what we'll do in the next future. So starting from Catherine, and what is it already a network because he's already a network. He's operating, gathering many organizations from across the Europe. So what you expect for a network? What your network will do, and what our organization will do in the next future? Catherine. Catherine, you have to unmute yourself and speak close to the mouth.
Yeah,
okay.
So I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Marco.
Put your mic close to the mouth.
Yeah, I have it. I hope it works now. This is really like a technical problem here. So personally, I hope you hear me now. Personally, I'm convinced that it has always been very important to have a well-functioning network with the relevant stakeholders. Of course, we are a small association. We are only 4 people working at the secretariat. And in a sense, we have to to be in regular touch with the relevant institutions. But when I started working in Brussels in 2001, one of the first things I was already told at the time is, if you want to do advocacy work, if you want to do the real lobbying work, the shorter position paper is, and by the more it is signed or represented, the better it is. So it's really important to have like a good, well-working network, also to be informed about latest developments. And I think today, like in a world which becomes more complex and faster, that has become even more important. So I'm also very happy that we have now these close contacts also with EMN. And just to give some ideas on the slides, I mentioned how European associations can work closer together. By the way, ACM is doing this not only at European level, even though we have the E for Europe in our name, we do this also at international level. The big advantage that we have, and I think this is the same for EMN, is that we are in the lucky situation that our members are not competing each other. So it is really like to learn from each other, and like ACM for Europe, there is AXIC for Asia, there is REGA for Latin America. There are also other organizations around the world with whom we work closely together. When you look like how to inform each other, our members about each other, so that they can also think of joining our associations, you have here an example of the Slovene Enterprise Fund, who is also a member of EMN and also of ACM, and really benefits from the membership of both organizations. And to come to the national level, to see how their cooperation is really beneficial and works well, we have here an example of Zobalfin being member of ACM. They are from the Wallonian region in Belgium, and they work together with CREDAL, and there is a partnership which goes on for several years, and you see a little bit here what kind of activity has been pursued jointly. And then with MicroStart, which is also a member then of EMN, there are contacts between those 2 organizations, but institutions, but up to now there is no partnership, which of course would also be lovely to establish this. If you then have a look at the next slide, so we have also a member which is rather new, though the Kosovo Credit Guarantee Fund was only created in 2016. And it's really a big success story. And so they start also now expanding their network. Because what happens is that, of course, all our members work jointly with commercial banks. That is the natural partner for them. But of course, also with microfinance institutions, there are a lot of advantages and some cooperations. So that's why the Kosovo Credit Guarantee Fund envisages now to get in touch and to see if a partnership might be possible. And I saw that at EMN, you have also a member from the Kosovo, so maybe that's an incentive to bring you in contact with each other. And then the last slide, just the last example at national level, would be like from UK. So there we also have a member, the British Business Bank, and they have really like programs also with microfinance institutions in place and give their guarantees directly then to them without involving any commercial bank. So I think there is still a lot of opportunity to strengthen cooperation. There are already good examples like there. And I think for the benefits of the companies, it's really of utmost importance to achieve more and to go ahead in this direction. Thank you very much.
So Claudia, with what your bank is doing for these challenging times, and which are your projects about the next future?
Yeah, thanks. About the partnerships, this is very important. Nobody can work alone. So well, as everybody, we have established several partnerships. The first I want to highlight are the kind of the oldest in microfinance is that we have been working years ago with EIB, European Investment Bank, with the International, and then lately with ADA in Luxembourg to help to create the MicroStart in Belgium and MicroLux in Luxembourg. So we would have never been doing that alone, and so sure this kind of partnership was very, very helpful. As Catherine said, of course, it's very important for each microfinance institution to be together, to work together with local banks, because they need funding first. In order to provide funding to the micro entrepreneur, they need to find funding. But if I just come to a general thing, one of the partnerships that I want to highlight is the one in this slide with the Grameen Creative Lab, which is for us who working in microfinance is one of the things that we love the most, because Grameen Creative Lab is the laboratory, is the advisor arm, European advisor arm of Professor Mohamed Yunus, the poor founder of microfinance. And in 2019, we have achieved to have a partnership with them, which asks us and which makes us work in order to create more social businesses from our bank. So it's a kind of partnership where they work with us and they help us to, they help the entrepreneurs of the group who have transformative ideas for good, business for good, and they help us to develop them. So we already have one up and running and successful Climate Seed platform for voluntary compensation, and we are working this year, for instance, with MicroLux in order to transform it as a social business under the Yunus methodology. But also, what is very interesting in that partnership is that we work with them in order to train the people, BNP Paribas, in order to train them and to transform their idea of what business has to be. Business has to earn money and to create a common good. So they work as in different tutorials and methodologies and trainings in order to have most of the future managers and talents of the bank working in that field. If you just change the page, you see other kind of partnership, which are as important or as interesting. One of them, largely well known, is one of the OECD, the Business for Inclusive Growth, which has been set last year together with Danone, together with many 13 multinationals. And the idea is really working side by side in order to see how to create better transformations, better methodologies, calculations, and things like this. Now, the one dedicated to microfinance and women is the AgriFed, is the third bullet point. We're working with this one, and we're trying to enhance the financing for women in the agricultural sector in Senegal. And we have done this partnership with the UN Women, deciding that we need to provide more funding to at least I think 50,000 women, yes. And then now we're working with Baobab, so to provide financing directly to these women farmers. Among the interesting partnership dedicated to microfinance is the one that we do with the SPTF, Atlas, and Ceres. And it's related to the social performance audit of the microfinance institutions. We believe that one important thing for the microfinance institutions is being able to decrease the amount of work to state how good they are working in their social performance. And so we believe that the SPI, the social performance indicator that has been developed by the NGOs, is a very good tool, because once it's done, it's public, everybody can have access to it, and so it's not a work that is to be repeated. And so since we use it ourselves, and since we, for our clients of microfinance, and since many microfinance institutions need it, we decided a partnership with the series, so that they train each year approximately 40 talents of the bank, so the ones who are really decided that they are going to be the future manager. They are trained during 4 days, and then they go for 1 week into microfinance institutions, and they perform for free the SPI. So this is quite interesting, because not only provide something for the microfinance institutions, but also provide something for themselves. So we consider it as very transformation training, because then the persons themselves can see that if microfinance can do profit and can do good, well, they are in a bank that has to do good alongside the profit. So it's a very transformative and a very good partnership. And each time, please be free to.
Very, very interesting.
So you see, there are different kind of partnership. I'm not going to go into them all, but just to provide some experiences, and it's very transformative and important for, and a good partnership has to be a win-win, of course. So has to be find a good solution for who receives it and who is a partner.
Thank you for experience from your bank, for your big bank, and to a small institution. Eleonora, what your organization expects from the network, and which kind of support from to open the network, and which is your point of view?
Yeah, since we are a smaller reality compared to the others, since we can operate just in our local territory, we can just better develop, the partnerships with the public institution that show the sensibility to our goal, and with the institution and association that share our goal of economic and social growth. But the foundation is willing to join a national or a European network, as it will support the exchange of knowledge and plus access to funding. We can do very good things for the network, but yeah, I think that it's that.
Okay, and finally, Gabriele, the floor new. The mic, the mute, you have to mute yourself. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. When we started our activities, we were very, very poor. And the only way, no resources at all. The only way we had was gathering with other partners like fair trade organizations, NGOs, associations, microfinance entities, and so on. Now, as you have seen before, we have enough resources to work where we are called to work from our beneficiaries and partners. And Banca Etica, the group, collects more than 5 billion euros because of its Etica share, which is our asset management society. And the most part of the liquidity of the bank is dedicated to work in partnership with other subjects. We are among the founders of the Federation, the European Federation of Ethical and Alternative Banks. For example, credit cooperative, there are a lot of microfinance, and social-oriented banks inside. There are 33 members in FEBEA. They lend at least to social enterprises 30 billion euros. We are among the member funders even of the Global Alliance for Banking on Values. You can find the figures there, more than 179 billion assets, which are mainly dedicated from Brak Bank in Bangladesh to Codesarroyo in Ecuador, are dedicated to microfinance and to social enterprises all over the world. And want to think about the European Microfinance Network. I don't say anything because we are all members of EMN. We work in the domain of microfinance with other subjects, Alta Finsidio, Ecocredit, Cordate, Microfides, and we can go on with the list of the subjects we were working. For example, ADA, even Claudia was telling about ADA in a very, very, very good way, because they are very strong support of microfinance and cooperatives, producers in the southern part of the world. We are part with we are members with Credit Cooperative of COBES and COMED, which are funds dedicated to microfinance activities in Eastern Europe and in the Mediterranean, in the southern part of the Mediterranean Sea. We work even with the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We are the only bank in Italy which has an agreement with our Foreign Affairs Ministry in order to support the activities of our NGOs all over the world, and to develop microfinance activities, especially in the Balkans and in Sub-Saharan Africa. This is not, this slide means that all the things we do are in partnership. As we are talking about the partnerships, we think that the only way we can go on is working with other subjects who share the same values, the same values, and working together is the only way we can have to do a better job than in the past. By the way, I wanted to tell to our colleagues who are connected with us today that we have Banchetica Seneremu with the European Microfinance Network in order to support, from the financial point of view, the members. I mean, the microfinance entities who are members of, like us, of the European Microfinance Network, mainly in the Balkans and the eastern part of Europe. And you are showing a very important slide, because it's not what Banca Etica does, but what our partners do. And from Palestine, from Palestine to Latin America, to Africa, to Eastern Europe, we're partners who, you can see the names there, who cover the most part of our world. And this is the only way we think we can go on. And with the last slide, if you can show it, well, there is a photograph of the activities we did last year in Mali and during the summer in Ouagadougou. But I think that the picture on top is very important. This picture was taken in a prison in Rome, and represents two football players. They are on the opposite. The goalkeeper is giving his hand to raise up to the forward. Well, in the end, what I wanted to say that we are not the good Samaritan. We are just a player on the ground. These are prisoners in a prison. On the ground, we play with them. We are with them, and we support the cooperative of these prisoners in Rome, but we support all the cooperatives working with migrants and prisoners in Italy. And what we want to say is just we share the life. Otherwise, it's not possible to go on. And I think this photograph represents what is our idea of the world: giving a hand and standing together on the same ground.
Thank you, Gabriele. Thank you to all of you. Lesson learned from this this session is how much is important the network, how much is important to keep in touch, how much is important to learn the lessons from the other organization. I think that we are very happy that you have shared your experience with us and with all our attendees. And I think that could be very useful for each one of us. Keep in touch. So I have to close the session. I thank all of you for this your participation, for sharing the stage, and for having your experience. So if I don't see any other questions, I think that we can greet together, and we can. I have to remind that the session has been recorded, and the recording with any other presentation will be shared with attendees after the conference. I remind that this afternoon will be another session, right, Elena? At which hour, please?
At 2, I think.
2 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, at 2 p.m. about delinquency management and collection techniques.
Super. So if you didn't already subscribe, you can go to the EMN website for the last minute registration. I ask you to complete the evaluation form after the webinar so that we know how we have done. Okay. And I very happy to have you on the stage, and I see you, and I say you goodbye next time. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Eleonora. Hi, Gabriele. And thank you, Elena. Thank you, Elena.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.